Peace and blessings, some people. Peace and blessings. This is Grand Kush. This is the Grand Kush channel where we deal with nine mind, nine knowledge, nine reason under the umbrella of Nuwaupu and Moon Science. These sciences came by way of two teachers, Dr. Malachi Z. York and Afro Unu. Now, I won't be getting into the controversy out there between the two teachers. Like I said, over here, we deal with nine science. Okay. So I want to go in a bit uh, in talking about Nuwaupu or nine science. Okay. Now, a lot of people, a lot of brothers, really, even some that spent many years under Dr. York's teachings, a lot of brothers hate Dr. York. They have a disdain, hate for Dr. York, right? And I can dig that. I mean, I've come to learn in 50 years of me being on this planet that we're not all going to be attracted to the same things. But when it comes down to Nuwaupu, I feel Nuwaupu is a different type of thing, right? It is a thing that really needs to be comprehended and really needs to be understood. And what I mean by thing, we're talking about person, places, and things. You understand? When I talk about thing, I'm talking about science. You understand what I'm saying? So I understand there's some people out there that got crazy hate for Dr. York. I'm not here to defend Dr. York, right? And that's why I really don't debate anymore, because when I used to debate back in the day, right, I go back to the founding of the conscious community, the start of the conscious community. I go back, you understand what I'm saying? So I don't really debate too much anymore, because when dealing with Nuwaupu and you debate Christians or you debate Hebrews or you debate Muslims, they have the same questions, they have the same retorts. You understand what I'm saying? They come with the same rhetoric, right? They want to talk about Dr. York, and they hardly want to talk about the science. They hardly want to talk about what Dr. York brought, or they'll go find information that's concerning Dr. York and try to get other Nuwaupians to try to prove why Dr. York wrote what he wrote and did what he did. I'm not here to defend Dr. York. You understand what I'm saying? But I will say this: when it comes down to teaching, if you will, Black consciousness, I think Dr. York is one of the best ones to do it. You understand what I'm saying? And I have not heard too many people today speak and be on his level. And in fact, I will say some of the information that's coming out today came by way of the Nuwaupian Nation camp. You understand what I'm saying? Some of this information that we are playing with today, right? A lot of the information, I will say, came from Dr. Malachi Z. York and the Nuwaupians. You understand? So look, like, hey, you do how you feel. When it comes down to the science of Nuwaupu, we're talking about a mind science, right? You're supposed to be able to really control your emotions. You really supposed to be a god. You really supposed to be a goddess. You understand? And by way of Almighty Nature, bringing this information, you understand? If you read it and comprehend it properly, this information was kind of, in a sense, like the last portal to go through, where you transform, transfigure, and transmute yourself into a higher being. Okay. Now, we are the original people on this planet. Now, some people want to say we're this and we're that. You dig me? That's why I like to use the term you melanin. Okay. If you understand you melanin, not just melanin, you melanin, great melanin, and pheo melanin, you will understand what I'm talking about. Okay. Now, our genetics, right? The genetics of life the keys of life, that is the God code. CHON plus P, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus. You understand what I'm saying? And the processes thereof to get this sun skin. People with this sun skin are the original people. Okay, we was all over this planet, right? But we are not what they described us to be by way of adjectives. You understand? So we are not Africans. We are not Indians. If you want to say indigenous people on the planet, I'm with that. But when you start saying indigenous people to America, we're the indigenous people to the Caribbean islands, I have a problem with that. All human beings are indigenous to Africa and then migrated out and became something else. You understand? This is another problem that I have with some of my brothers when we're dealing with this consciousness, this awakening of the mind, right? We don't understand even how the races came on this planet, man, and which keeps us indoctrinated, keeps us stuck in religion, keeps us stuck under the 33rd degree, keeps us stuck in three ether, you know what I'm saying? Keeps us stuck in the ghost god science, the moon science of the moon people. Do you dig what I'm saying? And that was the purpose for the nine. The nine is the sun to raise up our minds to a higher frequency to God level. Okay. Now look, people, as far as Nuwaupians, some call themselves Sabians. I don't really get with that. You know what I mean? You'll probably say, hey, you're a Nuwaupi. You're not supposed to be smoking herb. I'm a God. I do whatever I want to do in accordance with nature on the positive. You understand what I'm saying? I am my own man, and I'm in alignment with the great positive forces of nature. You dig what I'm saying? So when it comes down to Nuwaupu, man, it's a science to be comprehended. And I feel like that this science came not just by way of Dr. York, there's other writers who participated in the expression and the disseminating, you know what I'm saying, and the distribution of Nuwaupu. But this first came by the almighty positive forces of nature. And what we need to understand before we talk about human beings, we need to talk about the laws of opposites in nature. What do you mean the laws of opposites in nature? You understand, when you got two hemispheres to one brain, there's two hemispheres, right? The whole sphere consists of two hemispheres as well when we're talking about the all in all or almighty nature, a positive and a negative. And where do we find this? In batteries, for lack of a better example, you got a positive side, you got a negative side, you got a magnetic side, you understand, you got an electric side. And when you put them two words together, you have electromagnetism. Do you understand what I'm saying? And electromagnetism in almighty nature is a science, okay? And we are dealing with one of the physic forces of nature. You got the strong force, the weak force, electromagnetism, and gravity. You understand? This is all inclusive of the all in all. You understand? So when we talk about human beings, right, we have to talk about the spiritual aspects of who we are. And the spiritual aspect, or the spirit, is what came first before we manifested on this blue planet called Earth. Now, I really want to get into Nuwaupu a little bit, right? Now, when it comes down to Nuwaupians and Sabians, we are all on different comprehension levels. Some include these books, some don't read these books, some read these books, they don't read these books. Some still want to debate Dr. Malachi York versus Afro Unu. Some want to talk about Nuwaupu versus Sabianism. Some want to talk about Nuwaupu, Sabianism, and Noon Science. I'm not that. I'm all one. I'm nine. You dig what I'm saying? I'm nine. And there's not a lot of us dealing with nine science who actually get it. You understand? Because their spirits keep them in being followers. You understand? Their spirits, they don't have a leading spirit, right? They have a spirit that fills up space. You dig what I'm saying? So debating, like I said, man, I stopped kind of debating a long time ago because the debates, the debates is to line people's pockets, right? The debates is to make somebody about making somebody better and somebody else a loser. You know what I'm saying? Debating is like the winner and then the loser, but in these debates, it's not doing anything but uh, giving fools marks on their belt. It's not doing anything for us. We want to debate Kamala Harris. Is she going to be the next president versus Trump? We did it with Obama. You dig what I'm saying? But as a whole, how are Black as an organism, how are Black people really operating? Right. And we want to expose the conspiracy theories. But the thing is, you know what I'm saying? One African ain't free. One Black ain't free. You know what I'm saying? One Indian ain't free. One Negro ain't free, or whatever. One Moor ain't free. Whatever you want to call us until all of us are free. And the thing is, and the question is, are we trying to get free in mind? You understand what I'm saying? So let's bring up a little bit of information about Nuwaupu or Nuwaupu, right? And there's different breakdowns to the question, what is Nuwaupu? It can be given to you in different ways, you understand? So, don't think that one way, one definition of Nuwaupu is the end all be all, right? But this information is coming by way of Nuwaubian facts, okay? So let's get this presented for you. All right, let's see. Is that it? That's it. Okay. All right, so let's peep game, right? So this is Nuwaubian facts. For anybody really, all right, because what I can't stand is a fool like this is what Dr. York did. This is how this is did. He did all this. He did this to the kids. He did all that, but you didn't go do no research, right? You didn't pull no facts, and the facts have been pulled on Dr. Malachi Z. York now, where we know he is innocent. But people still want to stick to the same lame, low frequency, enslaved mind rhetoric, right? They want to stick to the same rhetoric and just be accusatory because they really got hate in a system. Now, some of us can't align with the positive, right? Some of us are just electric. Some of us are just magnetic. But electromagnetism is what makes it happen. You understand? So some can align with the positive. Now, this is a website. If you're super concerned about Dr. Malachi Z. York, right? If you want to stop being a hater, and I don't care if you're a hater or not, because you are in your own vessel, what I like to call your own biological earth suit. You know what I'm saying? You in your own biohydrocarbon earth suit. It don't have nothing to do with me. But if you can see one organism. So this website here, you can go in, right? And it's a lot of information in here, but you can definitely check out his case if you're so concerned. You can definitely check out his case. And if you don't know anything about his case before you talk about it, I would suggest you read everything on the website. Otherwise, you're just a low frequency being. And low frequency beings come in all kinds of forms. They come in all kinds of religions, right? They even come in Nuwaupu. They even come in noon science. Low frequency minded beings, low charge, moon niggas. You see what I'm saying? So I would say go read. Matter of fact, I might assist, but I say go look at this whole website, right? But in the case of using this website today, okay, we're going to talk about Nuwaupu, right? And this is one way to look at it. Okay. So when you think about Nuwaupu, don't think like you're not a part of it. Okay. We're talking about almighty nature, a science that describes almighty nature. So niggas that's still stuck in the Bible talking about Yahweh, step. You see what I'm saying? Like, did you not listen to Public Enemy? It takes a nation of millions to hold us back. Like some of these niggas is they getting they brain codes rescripted. It's happening by almighty nature, okay? Because we dealing with elite science right now. All right. And there's levels to this: esoteric, exoteric, as above, so below. Some still stuck below and can't connect to the above. Right. Let's go in. Nuwaupu is the science of sound right reasoning. You don't find that nowhere else. Okay. This is the reforming of the Negro. The Negro got the slave mind. We need to get with that, my people. Where does the majority of Black people descend from? Even the Tariq Nasheed says foundational Black Americans, right? The majority of Black people in America was enslaved. Whether you are indigenous to this continent or not, when slavery kicked off, the majority of Black people were enslaved, especially in the South. Okay. So when I say slave mind, please understand and overstand. Go back. Think about what your grandma really would be thinking about. Now, Dan Calloway will have you thinking that grandma was, stuck in her Negro-ness, but really wanted to express that she was an Indian and she had to keep that to herself. Otherwise, she would be unalived and things of that nature. These great conspiracy theories and these great, imaginations, right? But you got to go back to slavery 200 years ago. What was the majority of Black people thinking about? Okay. So if you was an original Indian or an original African, of course, we didn't know God the Christian way, the white way. Now, Africans was Islamic. Africans may also understood Christianity. It was all in the old world. But as far as America is concerned, Christianity ain't old world Christianity. Christianity in America is colonial Christianity, right? Where you can change some shit up. You understand what I'm saying? No, nobody, the church is not going to fault you. There's no church here yet. You know what I'm saying? So you standing as the Lord yourself. The white people became Yahweh collectively. So think about an enslaved, even though we was freed, what was Black people's mental power at that time? Okay. When you think about reproduction, right? Having kids. So the first freed woman out of slavery had a kid. What does that woman, and if that man is in the relationship, what does that couple, what those parents teach the kid? You see what I'm saying? And then from that kid, and he has kids, what does he teach the kids? And what does grandparents standing on, right? So you got to go back, right? Because you got to keep saying it's passing down, passing down, passing down. Now, anybody can assimilate into an environment, into an activity. Hey, nigga, go get a job. Yeah, anybody can go get a job. Anybody can work if you want to work. You understand what I'm saying? In fact, being a human being, a job really, on a higher level was colorless. Go work, go get some money. But that's not really what I'm talking about. I'm talking about there was a time where you couldn't go get no job. It wasn't go get some money for your status. Status. There was a status before there was economic empowerment with Black people. You did what I'm saying? There was an everyday, daily status, social status, social class system. You know what I'm saying? The white man learned his caste system status from the Hindu. There was a class status, a way of thinking with Black people. So when the Black people were newly freed and going through their adjustments to get right, were they capitalists? Like some of y'all niggas is today? Or were they capitalists? Did they have things? Did they get grants, loans, funding from the government? When they got out of slavery, was they passed the stimulus package? Or did they say, nigga, you can walk your ass off the plantation? Can you imagine? You just walk off the plantation. You walking with nothing. And then once you get off the plantation, you know what you become? A vagrant, a migrant, an immigrant off the plantation. Now you in there, you out there. You don't went down the street. Now you way out there though now. Not under the protection of, you know what I'm saying, what the government was then. What was the government then? When you was a slave, my nigga. Do you think niggas on the plantation weren't worrying what was cracking up in Washington, D.C.? No, man, the government was whatever the slave master told you, man. Let's get back into Nuwaupu. Nuwaupu is the science of sound right reasoning. Nuwaupu is right knowledge, right wisdom, and a right understanding. Not just knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, although you will find it that way. Right knowledge, right wisdom, right understanding. Nuwaupu is the science of experience, right? You have some experiences, right? Evidence and reason. Okay, so that means when you come at Nuwaupu, you got to come like that with experience, with evidence and reason. It's not for just Nuwaubians to come like that. If it's the science of that, then you have to meet the standard. When you're critiquing Nuwaupu, you have to meet the standard, right? Right knowledge, right wisdom, and right understanding is what you need to restore your powerful mind of right reason, mind. Nuwaupu informs you that knowledge is knowing. To know is knowledge, for the first four letters of knowledge is know. Know means science. Science means know, right? Knowledge is mental power with correct information. Wisdom is knowing how and when to use knowledge, right? The first three letters of wisdom is W-I-S, having the phonetics of the word wise. And an understanding is receipt of knowledge by the mind, and is the unity of knowledge and wisdom. And this is the problem that I have with the conscious community, because we it seems like we have lost understanding, which is the receipt of knowledge by the mind, and it is the unity of knowledge and wisdom. See, is as the generations come along, they try to change a thing, right? But going from the Nuwaupu into changing into something else, it's not in accordance with Almighty nature. Why do you say that, Grand Kush? Because in the words, in the science of Nuwaupu, it speaks about the all in all and Almighty nature. There's no science out there that builds with us being a part of the activities of Almighty nature. The nature of nature, nature is the God activities in nature, the nature of nature, right? There's no other science that, so where else can you go now? Do you dig what I'm saying? We're talking about the nature of nature. where else can you go now? Right? Nuwaupu and the forces and powers thereof are liberty, equality, justice, rightness, and proper survival for new beings. What is a new being? Somebody who's revolutionized and liberated their minds and can see the adverse forces, right? Because it's all about giving off a certain energy as well, putting a certain energy into the ethers. It's not about just coming up, with money, even though that's necessary in the moon system, in the money moon system, but it's about giving off a particular type of energy. It's about a particular type of representation. It's about a particular type of conversation, speech, and talk. When it comes down to Nuwaupu, when you say you're a Nuwaupian, you're saying you're 100% Black first. And you understand that it was 100% Black before any straight-haired moon race being came. And that's how you like to keep it off the script, 100% Black. What is 100% Black? 100% CHOM plus PU melanin. Do you dig what I'm saying? That we use to absorb 99.9% of the electromagnetic UV rays on the planet. That's how we get down. In fact, that's how life got down, came around, and spread around. You dig me? Nuwaupu and the powers that make it effective and binding are the equalizers in all fields, necessities, and endeavors in which others offer contests, right? So this has always been a problem with some brothers and sisters on the planet. When you get offered contest, you buckle and fold. But what is Dr. York saying or trying to do, or what was he trying to do with Nuwaupu? Make you who you are and your best self. To separate and do business with thy enemy. What do I mean by do business? You're doing business right now. You know what I'm saying? Even if you're just doing a podcast or whatnot, you're still binding in contract with the mankind races. So when contest was offered, hey, this is some shit that we really never heard of. Where does it come from? You start sweating when you're not never supposed to let them see you sweat. You start sweating, right? And then the demon that's working for the devil agent, get you knocked off, knock you off the path. You're confused. So then you start talking against Nuwaupu. When your spirit said, this is where I belong and this is where I want to be. But you will allow the powers that be around you, the masses, who offered test you. And you was like, man, when you with them, you like, oh man, I don't even mess with the Nuwaupians. Right? You get around the Nuwaupians, you like, yeah, man, them other dudes, man, they don't understand. You a flip-flopper. You see, it's some fish in the water that can go from male to female based on their environment and survival. You feel me? For the holy tablets is your passport to the new life here after life, the hereafter. Okay, so do they got a copy of the holy tablets in here? It's been so long since I looked at this website, because once you know, you always know. All right, we're not gonna worry about that. But even Doc came out with his own Bible, right? And for fools to be like, that's not real, man. That's not a real Bible. That ain't come by way of God. Then did the King James Version come by way of God? Did a Roman Catholic Church version of the Bible come by way of God? You understand? Any other straight-haired moon race people who wrote or had anything to do with the Bible, did that really come by way of God? Okay. In fact, if you really want to get down scientifically, Dr. York is closer to God than anybody that wrote that Bible if they don't have you melanin skin. Get your mind bent. The master teacher is the closest thing to the Most High, right? If the writers of the Bible, the Quran, and the Torah don't really have melanin skin, get your mind bent. Think about it. Give yourself the credit. Is that the problem, Negro? Is that the problem? That you really a self-hater? Nobody instill value in you. So when you went out to go get your experience and your evidence, you never looked at yourself as great. You looked outside. Kamala Harris, you see what I'm saying? They saying Kamala Harris is a black woman. Y'all better tighten up with that, because Kamala Harris didn't grow up eating fried chicken, you know what I'm saying? Macaroni and cheese, collard greens, black eyed peas, and cornbread, and hot sauce. And you feel what I'm saying? She didn't grow up eating that food. Right? So listen, man, I'm of the mind that 50, the black people, the black people, or whoever these people, the Negroes is in America, about to get railroaded, man. About to get railroaded. You better check out the Hindu. Okay. Now science been trying to tell you to break down on the races. Okay. That the Hindu is the God mind behind, Caucasian Christianity, along with the moon forces of nature, right? Nuwaupu was an ancient Nubian word, which is right knowledge, right wisdom, and right understanding. Finite and infinite. They'll say, where is that? I've never seen that word before. That don't mean they don't exist. There was a Nubian language, and the word could have been in there. It's a Nubian language that don't exist anymore. But if there was a Nubian language out there, that's not really doing research. When you just go look for the word Nuwaupu in the language, you don't know if Nuwaupu is a combination word. It is a combination word, but as far as your understanding of the Nubian language, you wouldn't know. Excuse me. It's a study, though, isn't it? My bad. That was mom's. So yeah, sound right reasoning. According to the American Heritage Dictionary, the words sound right and reasoning, having a firm basis, unshakable. Okay. Right in accordance with fact, reason, or truth. Reasoning, the capacity for logical, rational, analytic thought, intelligence, good judgment, sound sense, and underlying factor cause that provides logical sense from a premise. So when you say you Nuwaupu, you saying you ultimate black. Black in accordance with almighty nature, original official sun being with sun skin and sun hair. You're the top. Okay, you're the top. So sound right reasoning is the unshakable facts and logic. Now people will take this and apply this to Dr. York. Okay, and so niggas put standards on Dr. York that they don't even put themselves. He had to be 100% correct. He had to be 1,000. Everything that he said had to be correct. Dr. York wasn't subjected to the same restraints, limitations, oppressions that you was, nigga. But look what he did. You dig what I'm saying? Look what he did. Look what he did. You dig what I'm saying? Intelligence. This is our problem, man. Like I said, there's some niggas out here that can't do nothing positive. They work for the beast. And niggas that work for the beast, they can be in positive organizations, hitting you with negative suggestions, trying to cause separation, trying to divide, right? Trying to be a leader, You know, some of these sham guys try to jump into Nuwaupu. I can mention them by name, but like I said, it's old school. Some of them be on Sonatter channel. You know, some done went through Moorish and all of this stuff, and they've settled on a thing, you know, and things of that nature, right? They come off like now they high politicians and stuff like that. When that was the move, that move that they landed on right now could have been the move that they started off with. But like I said, when it comes down to Nuwaupu, what you got to get evidence, you got to get experience to have reasoning, and right. So what I call a lack of comprehension is when the Nuwaupu came, niggas didn't understand that. Doc said that the last three monotheistic religions is of Nuwaupu, and these are schools. That's some arrogant shit a nigga come with, right? When some of us, these Hebrews, like, it's the Bible or die. The Muslim, it's the Quran or die. You know, but Doc said these are schools. And in a sense, saying that we are way more intelligent than these people, but we are under the spell. So sound right reasoning is the unshakable facts and logic. Nuwaupu is spiritual science. Now check this out, right? For you religionists out there. Nuwaupu is the spiritual science of all original people throughout the universe. Nuwaupu is spiritual science of all original sun people throughout the universe. And it's the only thing that can put us back in our right minds. Nuwaupu existed before the flood of Noah, Utna fish team. Some of y'all don't even know who that is, right? He dropped this in the 80s, though. You did, and some of y'all niggas still don't know who this is in relation to Noah. And it's therefore the science of the original creative force. Okay, if you fucking with Nuwaupu, trying to critique Nuwaupu, break this down. What is the original creative force? And then you will see how stuck under the spell that we still are. And the original spiritual science of us. If it's not religion, then what is it? Because most of the things that we understand as far as spirituality outside of Christianity really was created in America for us. When you think about the Nation of Islam, you think about the 5% Nation, you understand, you think about Yahweh being Yahweh, the various other spiritual organizations, except those that connected themselves to Africa, really Africa being the base of, you know what I'm saying, real representation in America. But you understand, with the Nation of Islam, they don't even stand on the original Quran. They may use it now, but it wasn't like that back in the day. You know what I'm talking about? You're just using the original religious books. Out of these, religions became, in a sense, splinter groups. Now, when you look at the Nuwaubian nation, okay, Dr. York came with all the tenets necessary to say this is outside of the monotheistic religions, and this is for the original sun people. This is how we originally used to think. We were connected in almighty nature with almighty nature, in alignment with the positive forces of nature, understanding the negative forces of nature, and acting and living accordingly. Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay, so this is the premise. Nuwaupu is spiritual science. Nuwaupu is spirit science. Okay, you have your own spirit, and it's the problem with people in physicality. People want to do what other people are doing. This is energy, right? Oh, this person over here got a strong presence. I'm naturally attracted to this person, right? Oh, this person over here got a negative presence. I'm attracted. I want to do negativity and separate from the positive, right? But I'm not talking about being attracted and being repelled by energy. I'm talking about your energy. This is about your energy. So which one are you? Are you one of the positives? Are you one of the negatives? Or are you the balanced one that understand these are the forces of almighty nature, and I use them at will for the positive in us? You dig what I'm saying? I use them as the positive original people. Who are the original people? Okay, original people with sun hair, misnomered afros, the natural, the crown, sun hair, okay, have different hair than, in a sense, uh, I'm not even gonna say in a sense, than people with straight hair, whether they dark skinned or they pale white. True to nature, true to form. Okay, throughout the universe. Okay, universe is just not a word. The universe is a being. You understand? It's a being, and within the universe are living beings, whether they're planets, suns, stars, humans, animals, insects, fishes, whales, sharks, amoeba, protozoa, eukaryotic cells. You see what I'm saying? Prokaryotic cells, blah, 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 blah. The universe. And is the only thing that can put us back in our right minds. Is that a challenge? I believe that's a challenge, because somebody would say, "Man, I don't even get with Nuwaupu," but comprehension. You see, you will be attracted by way of the spirits, right? Nuwaupu existed before the flood of Noah. Okay, and when you deal with the flood of Noah, right? This is where you have. This is where you have controversies. What are the controversies? The controversies are Shem, Ham, and Japheth. That's not right knowledge. If Shem, Ham, and Japheth represent three distinct ethnic races on the planet, in which Ham would represent the Africans and Shem would represent the Asians and Japheth would represent the European or the Caucasian. How is that possible? Brothers want to get deep down into the stories, stay on the surface. Dr. York made you look on the surface of things. How is that possible? How can Noah, Utna Fish Tim, have three sons that progenerate those three ethnic uh, bases of people? Then what type of person is Noah? Right? They say Moses wrote the 5 books of the Bible. How? You see what I'm saying? When you start dealing with Moses and Abraham and all of that, Ham, the Africans or the Egyptians, the Africans, right? Because you're dealing with Shemites. They were already an empire. But people like to get stuck in these stories, you understand, of the past. Nuwaupu, although it's recalling the past, it's talking about how are you going to represent in this cycle of hell that we're in, right? It's almost about to be war. If Kamala Harris get in office, you know what's going to happen. If Trump get in office, you know what's going to happen. He already sent his goons on the White House. How disrespectful is that? He already sent his goons in the White House, right? Now, I'll give you another source of Nuwaupu. I'll give you another source. Okay. And this source is coming out of the 60s. Oh, there it is. Give me a moment. Give me a moment. Let me set it up. Let me set it up. I still got that plan. Yeah, peruse what is Nuwaupu on Nuwaupian facts. Hold on. Okay, here we go. Make sure. There we go, right there. All right. This is Bible interpretations and explanations. Okay. Now look, these writers. Well, this is Amanubu Rakafata, right? This is Amanubu Rakafata. So look at that. This is the 1960s when we got somebody. It was a few musicians and things of that nature that was tying themselves already to ancient Egypt. That they were saying that they were embodiments of light beings, positive light and force, right? What is Nuwaupu? Nuwaupu was pronounced Nuwaupu. The meaning of the word Nuwaupu is the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Now, some would say, oh, the first one, it was Nuwaupu with a B, and this one is in Nuwaupu with a P. Dr. York already went into all of that. I don't care to discuss the differences in between two letters, right? When you look at them, they the same letters upside down, right? Nuwaupu is all knowledge, all wisdom, all understanding, right? Finite and infinite. Nuwaupu is the science of sciences and the science in sciences. Nuwaupu is the spiritual science that existed before the great flood of Noah 17,250,000 years ago. Peep that, right? Peep that. 17,250,000 years ago. That puts you outside of Homo sapien. And because of things like this, people will say that's far-fetched. Okay. But where are you really getting your science from? The black people or the white people? How many African cultures are black people in America really versed in? Like deep down, you dig what I'm saying? And is therefore the science of the original creative forces and the original spiritual science of the African pygmies and Ethiopians in general. Nuwaupu is the science in which and with which the universe was grown. Nuwaupu existed for a long time after the flood, but finally gave way to pantheism in accordance with the time cycle laws of nature. Just as, in accord with the time cycles of nature, pantheism eventually gave way to religion as we know it today. Now it is time for Nuwaupu again, right? So I'm gonna leave that right there. That's a breakdown of what is Nuwaupu. So when you're dealing with Nuwaupu, it's not just about Dr. Malachi Z. York. You understand what I'm saying? If you've seen the information and really understood and comprehended the information, it's about how we are connected to Almighty Nature, how we are the original creative forces grown on this planet as human beings by way of sun. You understand? So a dude tried to challenge me earlier. Yeah, a dude tried to challenge me earlier, right? In Sonetter's room. And they come with the same, hey man, I'll destroy any Dr. York students. You understand? I've never been destroyed dealing with Nuwaupu. Nobody has ever destroyed me. And I'm talking about 2015. So some of these teachers wasn't even that you see today, it wasn't even known, right? And this is the assistance of more people wanting to be on the camera and YouTube, right? This is a trend. I'm going back to 2015, 2008, right? When some of these so-called scholars, right, were moving up through the ranks. They try to tell you that this is the rule of thumb. When you say something, give references and things of that nature. That's cool. That's cool, right? But when you reference Nuwaupu as a source, it's hard for them to get with it because they don't naturally and spiritually think the way Nuwaupu was written. And you gotta get with that. You understand what I'm saying? With that being said, hey, this is Grand Kush. Y'all have a great day. Thumbs up the video if you understand what Nuwaupu is and where it is coming from. You understand? And subscribe to the channel. You know, that'll get Nine Knowledge back in the loop because we're dealing with the real scoop truth. Y'all hold it down. Be great.